Varsity Media is the tri-state area's leader in sports media production. We specialize in live streaming.
Gargiulo over the middle. He's got a man. It's complete. And Ciolino. See you later. Touchdown, Massapequa.
Videography. And photography. Covering all sports at all levels. We feature aerial photography and videography, college recruiting videos, live streaming of games.
Top of the key, Smith. Why not? Wow. Bang! McKee, first down and more! Charlie McKee! Touchdown, Oceanside!
School events, graduations. Varsity Media is available to cover a game, a tournament, a season, or any special event.
Talk to us a little bit about what went through your mind, how you prepared for that to run such a fast speed.
Currently, spectators are limited at events. Let Varsity Media bring the event to your fans. Contact Varsity Media today for more information. Online at varsitymedia.net or by phone 516-403-2050.
We welcome you to Don Snyder Stadium on the campus of Farmingdale High School, where this afternoon it's playoff time. The Nassau Class A semifinals, a berth in the championship, is at stake as the third-seeded Vikings of Port Washington come in to take on the second-seeded Dalers of Farmingdale. Good afternoon, everyone. Dylan Butler here with Dave Franklin, and we were here just about a week or so ago, late in the regular season. These two teams met, and it was Port Washington coming away with a 9-5 win. That win, Dave, coupled then with the next result for Syosset, just caused complete chaos in Nassau Class A. It had to go to a meeting right here at Farmingdale High School to determine the top three seeds. But really, all the coaches said the same. Look, wherever we're going to be, we're going to face each other again, and we're seeing that here. Chalk going through the earlier rounds. 1 through 4 have all advanced, and it's all to play for here. 48 minutes from now, we'll know who's in the championship game.
No question. You ask both of these coaches how they feel about the last matchup, how things played into seeding. It really doesn't matter. Everybody's 1-0 everybody's coming in. Port Washington comes in 1-0 on the playoffs. Farmingdale has the bye. The previous result doesn't matter. Kind of speaking to both of these coaches, neither of these teams played last year due to COVID. There were a lot of young sophomores who never had that experience to build and develop. So coming into a game of this magnitude, it's really about who could shake off the rust, who could get past the moment, and who could just play the best head-to-head lacrosse.
There you see it right there. It's Syosset versus Massapequa. We'll get you periodic scores from that one. It's 2-1 Syosset after one quarter in that battle there. And that's also a rematch of the last two county championships, so don't sleep on Massapequa there. And of course we have 2-3, the county finals at Mitchell Athletic Complex on Tuesday night. It's kind of become now, at least this year, the home of the Nassau Championships over the course of 2 days, 4 different championships in classifications A through D. will be played. And we spoke about the last matchup. We have some highlights from that one to show you and sort of how this one changed. It was a 2-2 game going into the third quarter, and that one drastically changed in the third where Port Washington took control. We'll show it to you here. Starts here with Jensen Weingart, gets inside positioning. That's the 3-2 goal. You see 9:22 left. Watch the barrage of goals here for Port Washington. Here's Luke Meyer, dodging from X, spinning around, gets topside. He makes it 4-2 with 8:45 left. Jared Morales gets in on the party as well right here. Watch this switch to the left. Sidearm shot. The Selly as well. At that point, certainly Port feeling well. They felt even better here with another from Meyer. Goes high. That makes it 6-3. And Patrick Kenny, we expect him to have an impact in this one. He did here as well. Watch this save. One of his 7 that he made. That was the end of the third. He had a double save in the fourth quarter as well. We expect both goalies to really have a big impact, but when we talk about our impact players, first we'll look for a Port Washington. We could have gone a lot of different ways with this one, but we decided, partially because of the matchup in the last game, we go with Matty Freeman. He has been lights out this year, the transfer from St. Anthony's, proving he's one of the better long poles in Nassau County.
He certainly had a great second half of the season. Kind of plays with a chip on his shoulder, really aggressive on-ball defender, loves to throw checks. As we saw in the highlight sequence, he could also be really powerful in transition. And from what we saw in the Syosset game, there are times where he could show great poise, and at times he could also break down in the clearing game and make mistakes. So this is a kid who did not have the opportunity to play as a sophomore on varsity last year, one of those guys that Coach Neal was talking about as it relates to coming into a situation like this and ultimately shaking off rust, shaking off nerves, and just playing really good head-to-head lacrosse. And he'll have a really tough matchup with some of these Farmingdale attackmen, specifically Colton Becker and Ryan Woodland.
So a switch a little bit, too, for Freeman, where we've seen him at LSM. He started at Close D early in the year. He's back at Close D. And a switch as well for Farmingdale as we look at their impact player. He's been on their first midfield line all season long, but Tommy Decker, the Albany-bound senior, will jump up into the attack. Yep. And he expects, he did have an impact in that first one. They were sealing him off on man-up opportunities. Expect Tommy Decker to play a big role if Farmingdale is to advance.
Tommy Decker was definitely the catalyst in the game that we had here when Farmingdale had a big win against Syosset. As you mentioned, he'll bump down from the midfield. Kyle Wilson comes out of the lineup, and Tommy Decker going to Albany. Very similar to a lot of these Port Washington offensive threats. A really dynamic dodger, really fast, could take you from the outside, and very talented as it relates to shooting from the alley.
As both teams are in their pregame huddles, let's take a look at the starters for both sides. And we mentioned before some slight changes. First for the visitors from Port Washington. You've got the attack line of Weingart, Haberman, and Meyer. First midfield of Morales, Robinson, McCarthy. In that game against Farmingdale, the 9-5 win, Weingart, Haberman, Meyer, and Morales all played huge roles. Close D, we mentioned before. You've got Capabianco, Freeman, and Hillman. The switch there is Hudson Greenberg moves to LSM, and your goalie is Patrick Kenny, head coach of Port Washington. In his 6th season out of Overland High School in Aurora, Colorado, is Isaac Neal. For Farmingdale, your starters, and again, we mentioned the change, so we're going to have an attack line, maybe not so broadcast-friendly, or at least announcer-friendly. You've got Becker and Decker on the front line there with Ryan Woodland, the lefty junior, of course. First midfield of Capucciati. Chach is back. Dom Chaccio, the number 40 for Farmingdale. He's back from his hamstring injuries. Stevie DiCarlo as well. What a great game he had. His best game of the year against Port in that first matchup.
Coming out party for sure.
Yep. Ramos, Lembo, Balello is your close D. Jordan Smichael is your LSM. And in goal, as he has been all year, is Danny Seaman. Both goalies spectacular this year. Both had 7 saves in that first matchup. At the face-off X, we've got to mention, of course, as they kind of get over to that point, it's CJ Mangio, the sophomore from Farmingdale. And look, in a position where you weren't sure what you'd get at the start of the year, getting 54% from a sophomore, that's a win for the Dalers for sure. He'll go head-to-head with a senior in Elijah Edmonds, number 17, also a football player. They both might switch in this game as well. We might see some Tommy Massia for Port Washington, and we may as well see some Tommy Almadina for Farmingdale. We've got as well some keys for this game. First for the visitors from Port Washington, as you see the face-off guys getting some last-minute instructions. And look, they want to work hard. They want to play loose, and that's partially also just not play with nerves, right, and play a complete game. They were pretty close to that in the first matchup. For Farmingdale, again, it's kind of based off that first matchup between these two teams, that loss. They've got to defend the Port Washington knowns. And when you talk about knowns especially, you've got guys like Weingart, Haberman, Myers, Morales. They know them, certainly. Win the individual matchups on attack. They've got to shoot better and play harder, said their head coach, Mike Hungerford. We didn't mention his name, by the way. Hungerford, in his 5th season. A Farmingdale grad, 1986. To the face-off X we go. It's Port in the visiting blue. Farmingdale in their home whites. Opening face-off procedure, and it will be Farmingdale going on attack to start this matchup. It'll be interesting to see what we can get here from this man, number 40, Dom Ciaccio. Hungerford has said he held him out, maybe more of a precautionary thing late in the season. Said if this was a win-or-go-home game, he was playing. Ciaccio there, 40. Stony Brook bound. We'll get into that number certainly in its significance as this broadcast continues, but we'll see what we can get from him. We know he's not facing off today, but that's fine. Mangio's giving you a great job there. Cause turnover. Great job by Andrew Robinson. 12. There's Haberman. Takes a bump from Lembo.
Yard sale.
Yes, sir. And we'll go the other way. That was our impact player from the last matchup, Lorenzo Ramos. Spinning. Decker off the bar. What a rip by Decker. And we go the other way. It's Morales. Swims at midfield. And he gets himself in. Forces one, though, in front. Taken away by Seaman. This one's wide open early. Here's Capucciati. Farmingdale's got numbers. Pumps the brakes. That's not Farmingdale's game this year. In the past, it was. They wanted to run and gun, and they wanted to play up-tempo. Maybe they don't have those horses this year. It's more of a methodical look for the Dalers on attack.
Dalers definitely more of a defensive-oriented team this year. Some of their best middies, like Steve Zicarlo, really more of a defensive-minded middie. Ciaccio's been out of the lineup all season long. They've made some changes from attack to midfield, so you're right, they're going to be a little bit more tactical, which would be really important to do against an aggressive Port Washington defense with Capobianco and Freeman in the mix.
Here's Becker from X. Great look in front of the goal! Kyle Wilson! It's 1-0 for Farmingdale.
Great start for Coach Hungerford's team. You make those changes to the lineup. You move Tom Decker to attack. You move Wilson into the midfield. Great job by Colton Becker to recognize the matchup with Belemo with the shorty. Dodges hard. Wilson does a great job of cutting off ball and showing poise with the finish.
For Becker, the Oneonta commit, his 20th goal of the season. And just a little more than 2 minutes in, kind of a great start here for Farmingdale. You know there's going to be nerves for both teams, certainly. A conversation among the officials.
Coach Hungerford said he wanted the attackmen to win their matchups. Colton Becker, as you mentioned, the Oneonta bound. Daler, he'll be a future Red Dragon, doing a good job of recognizing the matchup with Anthony Belemo and the short stick. Really nice assist for him, and again, getting Kyle Wilson in the mix to score the first goal. A player who's transitioned between attack and midfield. Did a great job to cut off ball there to get the Dalers on the board.
Ground balls will be huge in this one, especially off of face-offs when there's not likely to be that clear-cut winner, and we're seeing that battle right here. That'll be a push from behind, so it will be Port Washington ball. So both teams have split the first 2 faceoffs.
Nick Biscardi, definitely a push from behind. I think it's really going to come down to a lot of ground balls and transition play. We've seen a lot of transition already. We'll see if the tempo ultimately settles down. But again, some of these teams have nerves. Some of these teams have jitters, younger guys. They like to run and gun, even when they're in their settled sets, so I think we're in for a good one.
There's Andrew Robinson working on the short stick. Biscardi works it back to X. Here's Weingart. Kicks it back out to Haberman. We expect to see Haberman bounce around all over this attack. There's a shot, and the first save by Seaman. Ball is loose, though, in front. Ground ball scooped up well by Lembo. Although he loses it, there's that ride by Port, and will go the way of the blue, staying this way.
Who's going to manage turnovers better? Who's going to pick up more ground balls? Who's going to execute on the clear better? That's what this is going to come down to.
Haberman, GLE, kicks it across far side. The double comes back out. Loose ball. Corralled well by Morales. Forces one, though, in front of the crease. Could not connect with McCarthy, and it's a turnover for Port.
That's the second time Morales has forced a bad pass in this game. Earlier, he tried to find Belemo on the crease to try to break the seal and get Port Washington on the board. Really not good recognition there. Belemo more of a D-midi and ultimately developing his offensive skills, especially as it relates to catching the ball in the crease. And again, right there, trying to force the issue to McCarthy, who wasn't able to bring in the pass.
And here comes Decker. And again, look, he got forced on that one. That was Freeman. We mentioned that matchup, and they will go head-to-head. Freeman got his long pole on that attempted pass, and we go the other way.
Not seeing a lot of settled sets. Farmingdale has the lead, but again, they really haven't gotten into their offense outside of the goal that they scored. All these defensemen on both sides are hungry and on the ball. And everyone is being relentless in the ride.
Yeah, both of these teams, that is part of their DNA, no doubt about it. They're not changing things in the playoffs. They will both ride hard. Up top is Weingart. Switches it. We go near side. They work the ball to X. That's Jacob Shore. Step down shot bounced wide by McCarthy. The backup in Haberman was there.
So again, Port Washington's done a better job of getting into the offensive set. They've been ultimately winning the ball possession battle and ultimately chipping away at this Farmingdale defense to try to tie it up.
Robinson up top. Meyer directs some traffic now. He's got a long pole on him. Lowers the shoulder. Back up top, and they'll work it the other way. Here is Shore. Back to Haberman. Haberman on Ramos. Tries, as he did often in that first matchup, get inside position. It wasn't there, and that shot also affected. Great work defensively by the Dalers. It's loose in front of the cage. It is still loose, and Seaman collects.
See if Port Washington is able to lock off here. They forced Siemens across the 50 earlier. Now they are going to play the goalie. And we'll see if Farmingdale is able to get it over the 50.
They were terrific in their clearing game in that first matchup, especially switching fields with their poles. And now we have Ciaccio on the ball. His numbers, of course, not what was hoped for this year. He's got 4-2, the 4-year varsity player, bound for Stony Brook. But again, his hamstrings, he went early in the year. Mm-hmm. They kind of shut him down more or less the rest of the way, and he's been chomping at the bit. We've seen him right next to Hungerford on the bench sort of each game.
In uniform.
Absolutely, kind of almost begging his way to get back on, and he is here tonight, and we expect, obviously, as Farmingdale, if they do advance, to see a lot more of Ciaccio going forward. Here he is.
Draws the pole in Greenberg. Could be a good matchup. Greenberg, a little bit of an undersized LSM. Ciaccio, a very aggressive physical dodger.
Showing that aggressiveness. Great kick save, though, by Kenny.
Both goalies off to a good start. Good job by DiCarlo to win that battle. Yeah, box out his defender, be close to the ball.
Yeah, fantastic job, right? That's one of those small things, but just shielding off Freeman was massive.
In a game that has transition and turnovers, backing up the ball, getting to the rock first when it's loose off the shot, every possession is going to count.
I'm watching Isaac Neal behind the play there, just whether it's this current play or the one before, kind of in the ear of one of the officials, you're always trying to win or get that next call, right? Here's Chaccio. Again, overhand shot by Chaccio. That's wide of the mark.
Chaccio, again, showing that he really wants to dodge outside, take his left hand, showing absolutely no fear against the poles. Had Greenberg on him the first time. And that time going up against Matt Hillman.
We go back to X, and you mentioned DeCarlo's coming out party. Use that same sort of stutter step, especially dodging from up top. Now the double comes, and Freeman just eats him up.
Great job by Freeman. Double when the attacker's back is turned to you. DeCarlo, again, not a natural offensive midi. He'll definitely see more time on the defensive side of the ball when he moves on to the collegiate level against Geneseo. But DeCarlo, dodging from X, turned to reverse his field. Freeman recognized it and did a great job on the double team to dislodge the ball.
There's Shore again, the senior, 8 goals, 5 assists for number 21. We expect, certainly, and I don't think I've called his number just yet. Here's Haberman kicking it out. Bouncer wide of the mark by Robinson. We expect to see 23, and I think he's coming on now. Gavin Jacobson. He's been hampered as well. He had a walking boot just a week ago. But here he is now stepping onto the field for Port. You expect him to have a major impact. There he is now switching to his left. The Binghamton commit. We'll talk about Binghamton a lot, I think. Surely they should be watching this broadcast.
Yeah,
There's
Coach McHugh, absolutely.
Few future Bearcats here. Weingart from X. Slide comes for a second from Wilson. And here's Haberman. We mentioned before, right? We'll see him all over the place. Runs into Schmeichel and Ramos. Kicks it back out. The bouncer wide. Shot by Morales. The backup was there.
Good job by Haberman to recognize the double that came from Schmeichel. Kicked it back up to the midfielder. Again, Port Washington just has to break the seal here. Siemens made some good saves. They've skipped a few shots wide. They're close to tying this up.
Weingart. Lembo on him. Turns inside. Again, they show double. Good job splitting it, though, and that bouncer overhand shot by Robinson off the mark.
So, again, the Vikings just not hitting the cage right now.
We've only got one save. Make it 2 now.
And that's not the shot that you want to get on goal. Streamline that right into the stick of Seaman.
And again, Farmingdale will try to clear. Good job getting it to the short stick. That's Tommaso Ramos. Ramos, the younger brother of Lorenzo. Hands up there by Hungerford, trying to slow his team down. It's the lefty, the junior lefty, Woodland now, who kicks it out top. Capucciati, sort of that do-it-all lunch pail guy. He'll look to come off now. Waiting is Decker. And here comes Wilson, your goal scorer.
Seems like they're using Capucciati more on the defensive side of the ball. Again, we talk about Coach McHugh watching this game. Capucciati looking to walk on there. He's definitely someone that you want to pay attention to.
Ramos hands off. It's Woodland. Double comes. Woodland! Kick save by Kenny. His second save.
Really sloppy communication there by Capobianco on the clear. He did a great job of scooping up that ground ball on the rebound, but flipped it to a midfielder who wasn't paying attention. Again, Port Washington is the stronger team on the ride, but Farmingdale is going to be aggressive and blue collar in that regard also. You can't take opportunities like that for granted. Farmingdale's back on offense now.
And again, hands up by Hungerford. This is, you dare say, even in a 1-0 game, this is like a free possession because you just had the ball turned over, right? So
it's a completely wasted save by Kenny.
Yep. And it kicked so fortuitously, too, out to one of your poles.
He could have kept running with the ball. I don't know why he did that flip.
Capucciati, sure from behind, that's loose in front. Getting ground ball, kicking, scratching for it. And it's one. Oh, the look across the way. I love the idea by Woodland. The execution, though, left a lot to be desired.
Oh, yeah, Tom Decker was wide open. A lot of scraps in front of the net. This is what we talked about. Who's going to execute more clears? Who's going to win ground balls? Who are going to win these scraps in front of the cage?
Under a minute now to go in this first quarter. Interception by Decker. Here comes Decker. Gets it to X. Head up, looking for options. Quick pass. Wilson fires wide.
This is some of the best riding I've ever seen in Long Island lacrosse in a really long time.
Make that Becker with that shot. 45 seconds. Here's Woodland. 28 goals. 13 assists for the lefty, the uncommitted lefty. College coaches take an eye on number 13.
A few college coaches in the stands here, staffs and scouts from CW Post and Hofstra. Certainly taking a look at Ryan Woodland.
Got to take the CW off that now, right?
Oh, that's
LIU.
right. That's right.
Here's Chaccio, lowers the shoulder. Gets a few cross checks. Hands off. 10 seconds. Decker spins. Freeman all over him. Gets it to DiCarlo. He's got the short stick. DiCarlo spins, turns. Lefty rip. Low to high, wide. Ooh, and a late flag as well. With 1 second left, now you've got the chance where you're not going to have a face-off to start the second quarter.
Not to mention you're having Freeman come off the field. So you're taking one of your best pulls out of the lineup for this power play opportunity for Farmingdale. Again, DiCarlo's playing with a lot of confidence on the offensive side of the ball, especially with the game that he had against the Vikings last time out on this very field. So Freeman takes the penalty, and Farmingdale has an opportunity to take the ball into the second quarter.
Yeah, so that's a 1 minute slash on Freeman, and there'll be 59 seconds left on that man up when we start the second quarter. Wilson, the lone goal. The Poles have done what we expected. Both goalies as well with a pair of saves. It's the Nassau Class A semifinals. You're watching it right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports. As the season winds down, don't let the memories of an unusual season fade. Let Varsity Media relive the season filled with great plays, exhilaration, and joy with a highlight video. For the athletes going to college, Varsity Media's recruiting videos have been the engine that drives the application to the coach. Our history has shown a Varsity Media recruiting video has saved parents hundreds of thousands of dollars. For the athletes not yet ready for college, a Varsity Media highlight video will be remembered forever, and the highlights will be there for life. An end-of-season team highlight video will capture a successful season filled with hard work, unpredictability, a testament to the administration and athletes. Call Varsity Media today to start creating a video filled with highlights from a very unusual season. Highlights that will forever be watched. Contact us at 516-403-2050.
We welcome you back to Don Snyder Stadium. 12 minutes in the books, just the one goal scored. It was 2-2, though, in that first regular season matchup before things opened up in the third quarter. Give you a score now from your other semifinal matchup. This is the 1-4 game being played out at Syosset. They're obviously a little bit ahead of us. The top-seeded Braves with a 5-2 halftime lead. Opened things up a little bit in that second quarter. That was a one-goal game, an overtime game, won by Syosset at Massapequa during the regular season.
When we saw Syosset play here, the Braves offense kind of had a little bit of trouble getting into a rhythm, but it was a much different story when Syosset ultimately hosted Port Washington. They kind of changed things up going into their game with MacArthur, where they had a big win. Started bringing Biello out of the box opposed to playing attack, and we have a power play here for the Dalers to start the quarter.
And again, it's Freeman, arguably your best long pole, maybe Capobianco can make an argument. He's in for a minute on the slash, but that's rapidly winding down. Here's Wilson, your goal scorer, out to DiCarlo. Up top now is Decker, who hands off. It's Chaccio to DiCarlo, and they'll play catch up top. Chaccio whips it this side. We go to X. Back across the way. Lefty rip and a goal! Woodland, the finish. The man-up goal has extended Farmingdale's lead to 2-0.
Great over-the-top pass by Tom Decker. Dahlers did a good job of moving that ball around. Kyle Wilson had a shot. Good patience by him. You see, there's when Wilson could have ultimately fired. And then again, great job by Tom Decker to put that one over the top, and a laser from Ryan Woodland to extend the Dahlers lead.
His 27th of the year for Ryan Woodland, and it's 2-0 for Farmingdale. Back to the face-off X we go. The two teams, again, only a 1 goal scored, right? So they split. That's the second procedure called. So another Dahlers win, and they've got a little mojo going, and we got a 2-goal lead looking to extend it now.
And if you're Coach Hungerford, you got to feel good about what Chaccio is bringing to the table so far in this game. He's really showing no fear, dodging, showed a lot of good poise on that man up, kind of had a bit of a hockey assist there, moving the ball to Wilson. And number 40 in white is playing as expected for the man that wears that number.
Decker off the post. Great defending by Freeman, but Decker still got the shot off. Chaccio up top now, swings it. And they'll get it back to Decker. Freeman on him, forcing Decker to switch to his left. Decker goes overhand. It's loose in front, and it's Kenny who picks it up. Chaccio tried to shovel it towards the net, but good job by Kenny.
Kenny had a little bit of help there by Matt Hillman, who did a good job of getting that into the crease. Again, there's been a lot of loose balls off of rebounds in this game, so getting it back to your keeper and then executing a good clear is going to be key for whoever's going to win this contest.
Capucciati not making it easy to get in. All over Belomo.
Belomo and Capucciati, both kind of the two cultural D-middies for these teams going into this game.
Meyer gets shoved back again by Capucciati. Weingart draws a double, back up top, lowering the shoulder, and again that pass inside, intercepted. We go the other way. Decker fakes the pass. Decker high, wide.
A little bit of throwback, Farmingdale across, pushing tempo in transition there. Farmingdale has had a lot of interceptions in this game.
Looks like there's a flag as well. That one came late. Was this an offside, maybe? Unless it was just for the ball being out of bounds. Oh, Biscardi looks like is he going? No.
They were talking about too many men.
And it seems like there's a lot of confusion
around here.
Neil doesn't like what he hears, the Port Washington coach. More conversations. Biscardi was the one who came away with the ball, and he rushed down. Now, he's a short stick D-midi. Was there perhaps too many men? Here you see Biscardi getting into the attack. It's hard to see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 Dahlers.
So did someone step on early behind the scenes in transition as Farmingdale was exchanging their pole for a short stick D-midi? I don't know. Or a pole for offensive midi, for that matter.
So offside was
the call.
The penalty. So 30 seconds.
And it's on Port Washington.
Yeah. So already, Farmingdale 1 for 1 on the man up. And a healthy student section here. We saw them they're still trickling in. here at Farmingdale with the "you can't do that" chants. Here's Decker up top. They swing at GLE. We go the other way. Cutting was Decker. Up top, Chaccio. Good ball movement. Little deflection by a pole. Good scoop up there by DiCarlo. DiCarlo. Freeman kind of in that neighborhood. Chaccio bounces it wide.
Farmingdale doing a good job of moving the ball in their man upset. Chaccio looks very confident playing quarterback from up top, but now he'll exchange off for Capucciati.
Yeah, we're even up. Chaccio kind of feeling his lower back on that. Something we'll monitor here as we go forward. Might have tweaked something there. Here's Capucciati as Becker looks to get on. He does get some last-minute instructions from Hungerford. 2-0 your score here. Farmingdale, at the time, about a week ago, I mean literally a week ago, they had the opportunity, it would seem, as here's DiCarlo, fires and scores! DiCarlo's coming out party was against Port. That party continues. 3-0 for Farmingdale.
Nice left-handed alley dodge by Steve DiCarlo. Had a matchup with Andrew Robinson. Had a good running start. No stutter step, no split. Just goes right to his left hand and does a good job of placing that low off stick side.
His 7th goal of the year. To put that in perspective, he only had 3 going into
That's
that
right, yeah.
game. He scored 3 against
Duplicated
Port
his
Washington. And look at Mangio. That's a clean face-off win. Here comes Schmeichel. Schmeichel, pole goal, no, says Kenny.
Important save for Kenny to keep the momentum in check. Good job by Capo Bianco to scoop up that ground ball and get it back to his keeper safely.
A diving attempt there by Decker. You think he wants this game? How about pole goal the other way? Freeman denied.
Save for save, end to end.
Yeah,
Great job by Freeman to
pole
push
denial
up there
for
like
pole
the LSM.
denial.
Yeah, that's right. Schmeichel couldn't get into the mesh. Freeman wasn't able to get it onto the score sheet either, and back to Port Washington offense.
Ramos all over Haberman.
And a flag is down.
3 saves apiece for Kenny and Seaman. Seaman, we know, going to St. John's. Kenny, maybe some breaking news here, looks to walk on at Farmingdale. Meyer, lefty rip, wide of the mark. And let's see this infraction now. It'll be a 30-second man-up opportunity for Port, their first of the game. I think it was Decker who was offside.
Offside, yeah,
it
on the
happened
dive.
actually
Yeah.
when he dove.
That's right.
He ended up diving across. Which honestly, I think if you're Farmingdale, you kind of take that because of the
Yeah.
hustle, right? You don't want to not reward the hustle if you are Farmingdale.
Yeah, if there's anything like a good penalty, that would be one. Again, it could be one of those situations where if a midfielder's back and he's able to get back over the line, you avoid that penalty. But just a small mishap, and again, one that you're willing to take if you're Coach Hungerford.
So Port's first man-up opportunity, a short one at that. Here's Jared Morales up top, and there is Gavin Jacobson. Practiced this week, had that walking boot off, and here he is. Slings it to Weingart. Oh, just off the stick of Haberman. Look at Ramos. Wow. As soon as that ball went down, Ramos sniffed it out like it was a steak dinner. Capucciati gets the ball. Timeout for Farmingdale.
Good job by the Farmingdale coaching staff to put the yellow light on Ramos and take that timeout. Your man down right now. Very fortunate situation where Haberman lost the ball, and great job by number 50 to cross the 50, get that safely to his offense, and give the Dailers an opportunity to regroup and grind out the rest of this penalty kill.
We'll take a quick break as well with this timeout. 6:03 left first half. It's Farmingdale 3-0 over Port in the Nassau Class A semifinals right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports. As the season winds down, don't let the memories of an unusual season fade. Let Varsity Media relive the season filled with great plays, exhilaration, and joy with a highlight video. For the athletes going to college, Varsity Media's recruiting videos have been the engine that drives the application to the coach. Our history has shown a Varsity Media recruiting video has saved parents hundreds of thousands of dollars. For the athletes not yet ready for college, a Varsity Media highlight video will be remembered forever, and the highlights will be there for life. An end-of-season team highlight video will capture a successful season filled with hard work, unpredictability, a testament to the administration and athletes. Call Varsity Media today to start creating a video filled with highlights from a very unusual season. Highlights that will forever be watched. Contact us at 516-403-2050.
We welcome you back to Don Snyder Stadium on the campus of Farmingdale High School. 6:03 left in an entertaining and intense first half. It's Farmingdale, the 3-0 lead. Dalers also get the ball back, and counting them up quickly, they are even after that man up. So Port unable to cash in on their first extra man opportunity. Here comes Tomaso Ramos. Back out to Decker. To Carlo. Now they pull him. To Carlo. Gets doubled as well, and it's intercepted. That's Greenberg. Greenberg, though, forces the pass up. Look at Tommy Decker again, making sure it goes back to DeCarlo. Now he's stripped again. And another GB. You talked about how important these ground balls are. That's at least 2 right there that go the way of the white and green.
Coach Neal was worried about jitters. I just think that it's like good, intense energy. End-to-end lacrosse, but ultimately it is going to have those situations where there are going to be loose balls, failed clears, and who's going to execute better coming off them.
Jack Agers! Another GB.
Good take by Jack Agers there. Take Belomo to the rack. Short stick matchup.
Capobianco forces Woodland. Woodland turns and fires! Woodland! His second! And it's 4-0 Dalers.
And looking back on this game, this just might be that goal where we thought maybe it was going to be too hard for Port Washington to get back. A lot of time left in this one, but as you could see, great job here by Ryan Woodland to dodge down the alley, change his field. Capobianco did a great job reacting off of the pivot, but a really nice shot, changing levels, bringing that one low to high was Ryan Woodland.
Back to the face-off X, and it's been Mangio who's been the guy. Another for him. 4 out of the 5. Yeah, a few procedures there, but back-to-back clean wins now for the sophomore.
Yeah, just not the start that you want to get out to if you're Elijah Edmonds. A few procedure calls. Mangio has been really hot ever since the Syosset game, really coming into his own as a sophomore face-off midi for this great program.
You get the sense this is a massive possession here for the Dalers. If they can jump out to a 5-0 lead late in this game, maybe some of those jitters do come or start to affect Port Washington. Here's Becker. Draws the double, kicks it back out to Decker. Across the field, hot hand in Woodland. Woodland now works it to X.
Got Capobianco hung up.
See the size as well. Out to Decker. Oh, he was ready to fire. Gets it back in. Spins. And that was taken away by Freeman.
Oh,
the shot
Chaccio
by Chaccio was saved by Kenny, his 4th. Here comes Port. Unsettled. Weingart. Extra pass.
And that's just one of those situations where Belomo, who will handle the rock coming off the field, he had a good opportunity to take an outside shot there again. Number 9 in Port Washington, really versatile athlete, great D-midi. Just really hasn't come into his own yet as an offensive threat.
You know who's been really silent is that guy right there, 3 on the ball,
Yep.
Haberman.
And again, he had that turnover that allowed Farmingdale to kill that penalty as well.
39 and 13 on the year for the Loyola bound junior, Haberman. He's got it now up top. Ramos out to stalk him. Good first step by Haberman. Gets Michael now. Switches fields. It's Weingart eaten up, but they'll call a hold, so we'll stay with Port Washington.
Hold on Nick Biscardi there. Ultimately, Haberman needed to reverse toward the top of the field. He had this man wide open.
Oh, and the look to the crease and the finish. A massive goal in front. Looked like it was Jacob Shore. It sure was. 4-1 now for Farmingdale.
As we were just talking about, Jad Morales was open on the missed opportunity by Haberman. Great assist there by number 5 to find Shore on the inside.
If Port
Bad
Washington,
pass to Morales there. Good on him to ultimately pick up that ground ball. And then Shore was wide open on his knees and finishes that one high over Seaman. Again, if we're able to take a look back on that replay, that was a really poor pass to Morales that ultimately forced him to pinch in to get that ground ball. And you see Smichael over-anticipates a little bit. If that's a clean pass, maybe the situation doesn't happen and Port Washington continues to play settled offense.
if Port comes back and wins this game, that's the good timeout there by Isaac Neal off the face-off win because Edmonds was just surrounded. But that's the goal, perhaps, that might be the catalyst, right, where it's a tough goal. You see Shore as well kind of holding his neck, took a few sticks as he was low to the ground, but a huge goal there. Now you've got a timeout. You've got possession, 2:27 left. And look, if you can get a goal here, as tough as things looked for a while, you just split your deficit in half, and a 4-2 game is certainly very manageable going into the second half.
Yeah. We talked about the last goal that Farmingdale scored where ultimately Capobianco did everything right. But when Farmingdale went up 4-0, again, that was like one of those situations where it's like, all right, if they get the next one at home going into the second half with a 5-goal lead, that's going to be hard to overcome. But again, a really good response by Port Washington and for Morales to ultimately jump on the errant pass, take advantage of Jordan Smichael's over-anticipation, and then find Shore on the crease.
There you see it again. Semifinals both being played now. Syosset's game started about half an hour earlier, so we should certainly know the winner of that one. Syosset up at the half of that one, and the two teams play at the county championship at Mitchell Athletic Complex. There you see the score at the bottom at halftime, 5-2 for Syosset. And then we have LICs again. Class A and Suffolk County wide open as well. Northport, Smithtown East, Smithtown West. Ward Melville, always a team to look out for. They're up big now late in the fourth quarter against Bayshore. Should be a lot of fun here down the stretch of this lacrosse season. We're so happy that it's back after that COVID year. Here's Haberman. Tries to cut inside, kicks it back out top. Sidearm shot wide by Meyer.
Good over-the-top pass by Haberman. Shot by Meyer, just misses the mark. Good backup by Haberman. A really important possession here for the Vikings.
Haberman tries to work off the pick. Tries to get inside of Ramos. Not there. Good slide. They force it back up top. Shot. Oh, another save by Seaman.
Good job by Christian Lembo to scoop up that rebound. Not a lot of angle there for the shooter. And let's see what Port Washington does on the ride. Good job to find Chaccio coming out of the box.
Seaman's fourth save. Chaccio. He's got a little jump in his step now, right? Chaccio does.
Yeah, we were worried about him. We were worried about him going back to get treatment. We were seeing this man, Capucciati, take some more offensive reps in his place. And now that Port Washington was unable to execute, you know that Farmingdale is going to want to take advantage of this last possession and get that 4-goal lead back.
Yeah, and you certainly expect here, even if it ends up getting a stall warning, that here as you approach a minute left, they're going to hold. You would certainly expect here for the last.
The last thing you want is to allow Port Washington to take a 2-goal deficit into halftime.
100%. Capucciati has it up top in no hurry, and now they're going to seal off, or they'll attempt to seal off, it seems like, Decker as Freeman comes all the way out to play him. Stall warning is on now, so they've got to keep it in. Capucciati, harassed, does get in, and there's the timeout by Farmingdale. So good coaching by Mike Hungerford and his staff to set things up here with 36.5 seconds to go in this first half.
Coach Hungerford doing a lot of things well. Definitely came into this one prepared. He knows that Port Washington is a strong riding team, so he's doing the same thing with his attackmen to match that. He's doing a good job of making good exchanges between the LSM and the short stick offensive midi when they are clearing the ball, taking some of the pressure off of Seaman. And then again, we've seen these situations where one or two times Farmingdale has thrown it back a little bit and played tempo offense, but Coach really knows when it's time to make the water call, flash the yellow light, slow things down, allow his guys to breathe and refocus in order to keep the advantage.
So Hungerford, you see him there in his 5th season. We mentioned before, an 86 graduate of Farmingdale. His assistant coaches, John Campbell, class of 83, Eric Dunn, and Kenny Garcia. Garcia is the guy who works with Mangio and Almadena with the face-offs. Hungerford hoping to get Farmingdale back in the county championship. They were there in 2017 where they lost to Massapequa, who would go on and win 3 straight. They went back-to-back. Pequa did after that, beating Syosset in both championship games. Those two teams meeting right now at Syosset High School. We mentioned before that halftime lead. We'll get you those periodic scores as they come in as well. And actually, as I say that, a little breaking news, checking my texts. End of 3, Syosset kind of stepping on the gas here. It's an interesting matchup, too, as I kind of bury the lead here with not giving you the score yet. But it's an interesting matchup between a very young Massapequa team and a senior-laden Syosset squad. Maybe some of those edges senior-wise go. It's 10-3 for Syosset at the end of 3.
Yep. Again, Syosset has a lot of great weapons. Boita and A.J. Alexander on the offensive side. On the defensive side, Singer and Dylan Lefkowitz. Syosset definitely has their eyes on the title.
Stall warning again, back on after that timeout. Here's Becker, 26 seconds in to Woodland, loses it. And let's see if Port can now get something here in the final 16 seconds.
So again, Farmingdale is going to match the intensity on the ride.
Robinson flies right through, and there's the timeout for Neal. No,
wow.
It's taken away. They said offside for blue. Now it's 6.7. Can the Dalers get something? Here they go quick. Freeman, the push from behind, will stay right here with 1.5 seconds left.
We talk about Freeman playing with the chip on his shoulder. Really lucky not to get a delay of game penalty there for kicking the ball away. I'm not sure if that was inadvertent or not. Again, it was just a regular push from behind. It's not something that would have warranted a penalty. There was no possession.
Whoa,
but now we see it. Now we see it.
So now here's the question.
It's not going to be on Freeman.
Yeah, it is, I think.
No, it's a slash.
No. And how about this, too? 1.5 seconds. 2 penalties at the end of quarters.
A slash on Andrew Robinson. So again, fortunate to keep Freeman on the field. I thought for sure it was going to be a penalty for him for delay of game for kicking the ball away.
And again, if you're the Dalers, you just eat this again.
For sure.
And you've got
58 seconds on the penalty.
Yeah. So Decker doesn't get a ground ball, gets a ground flag there. He handed the flag back to the official.
So you have the offside by Port Washington when they were trying to clear and call a timeout. Now they take a penalty.
Decker just
steps in and out.
Steps out, and that does it for the first half. So Farmingdale will have, 58 seconds or so of a man up to start the third quarter, and it was all Dalers to start. They had a 2-0 lead after one. It extended to 4-0 on Ryan Woodland's second goal of this first half. Port came back on a goal by Jacob Shore to make it 4-1. But the Dalers, you would certainly say here, in control after the first 24 minutes. We'll go to break here. We'll reset. We'll get you some first half stats and some highlights as well. You're watching this Nassau Class A semifinal right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports. Are you settling for a boring live stream? Can't see the players' uniforms? No audio? Camera not following the action? Consider a live stream broadcast with Varsity Media. Our announcers help tell the story of your game.
McCarthy. He's got. He's in. Touchdown, Farmingdale.
We feature multiple camera angles, guaranteed to capture all the action.
Touchdown, Oceanside.
Plus added features like graphics, instant replay.
Yeah, the shooters are going to shoot here at Bethpage, and one of many threes on the day.
Interviews and more. It's your time to shine. And with Varsity Media, now you can. Contact us today and book a live stream broadcast with Varsity Media. Online at varsitymedia.net or by phone 516-403-2050. Varsity Media is the tri-state area's leader in sports media production. We specialize in live streaming.
Gargiulo over the middle. He's got a man. It's complete. And Ciolino. See you later. Touchdown, Massapequa.
Videography. And photography. Covering all sports at all levels. We feature aerial photography and videography, college recruiting videos, live streaming of games.
Top of the key, Smith. Why not? Wow. Bang. McKee, first down and more. Charlie McKee. Touchdown, Oceanside.
School events, graduations. Varsity Media is available to cover a game, a tournament, a season, or any special event.
Talk to us a little bit about what went through your mind, how you prepared for that to run such a fast speed.
Currently, spectators are limited at events. Let Varsity Media bring the event to your fans. Contact Varsity Media today for more information. Online at varsitymedia.net or by phone 516-403-2050. As the season winds down, don't let the memories of an unusual season fade. Let Varsity Media relive the season filled with great plays, exhilaration, and joy with a highlight video. For the athletes going to college, Varsity Media's recruiting videos have been the engine that drives the application to the coach. Our history has shown a Varsity Media recruiting video has saved parents hundreds of thousands of dollars. For the athletes not yet ready for college, a Varsity Media highlight video will be remembered forever, and the highlights will be there for life. An end-of-season team highlight video will capture a successful season filled with hard work, unpredictability, a testament to the administration and athletes. Call Varsity Media today to start creating a video filled with highlights from a very unusual season. Highlights that will forever be watched. Contact us at 516-403-2050. Now is the time to promote your business on our broadcasts.
Now Farmingdale will fire and find the back of the net.
Top of the key, 4-3, good.
With viewership in the thousands, your company will get the local attention it needs. Best of all, we offer affordable rates. High school sports online audiences are growing. Take advantage by advertising with Varsity Media.
Hands off, three-point shot is up and in. You back him back 3 yards, it doesn't matter. Touchdown, Freeport.
Contact us today, 516-403-2050, varsitymedia.net. You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports. Are you settling for a boring live stream? Can't see the players' uniforms? No audio? Camera not following the action? Consider a live stream broadcast with Varsity Media. Our announcers help tell the story of your game.
McCarthy. He's got up. He's in. Touchdown, Farmingdale.
We feature multiple camera angles, guaranteed to capture all the action.
Touchdown, Oceanside.
Plus added features like graphics, instant replay.
Yeah, the shooters are going to shoot here at Bethpage. And one of many threes on the day.
Interviews, and more. It's your time to shine. And with Varsity Media, now you can. Contact us today and book a live stream broadcast with Varsity Media. Online at varsitymedia.net or by phone 516-403-2050. Varsity Media is the tri-state area's leader in sports media production. We specialize in live streaming.
Gargiulo over the middle. He's got a man. It's complete. And Ciolino. See you later. Touchdown, Massapequa.
Videography.
We welcome you back to Don Snyder Stadium here at Farmingdale. It's halftime of the Nassau Class A semifinals. The Dalers with a 4-1 lead at the break. Dylan Butler, Dave Franklin here. We'll take a look at some of the first half stats. First for the Vikings of Port Washington, and some surprising numbers a little bit here. Not the number of shots. They've taken attempts. Those shots have mostly, though, been off target. It's the ground ball number that I was surprised at. I thought that maybe the Dalers would have a larger edge there. They're actually going to be even at 7. Faceoffs, we knew that was 2 for 6. A couple of procedure penalties, or not penalties, but procedure calls. Saves, 3 for Kenny. And then you see the man up. Just that one opportunity. Just a 30-second one as well off that diving offside by Decker. So 0 for 1 for the Vikings. We'll take a look at the stats for the Dalers. And you see them here, 16 shots, so certainly more aggressive with their opportunities. They've also missed the frame a lot, even up at ground balls. The edge certainly on face-offs, 4 of 6, 5 saves for Seaman. They are 1 for 2 on the man up, but also they have a 58-second advantage when we come out. Got to give a shout-out to Freddie Falcones, the Farmingdale statistician, for all his great work and those stats. And those are some of the numbers behind the first half. How about some of the moving images as well? We'll take a look at some of our highlights from this one. We start early on, and you always kind of expected whichever team would be able to score first has an edge in a playoff game, certainly with a lot riding on it. Here's Becker dodging from X. What a great look in front. And there is the finish by Kyle Wilson. That made it 1-0. We go the other way, and look at that sidearm shot by Woodland. That was a man-up opportunity. That made it 2-0 for the Dalers. They're not done yet either. This guy was red hot in the last one. Stevie DiCarlo makes it 3-0. And how about a little more Woodland? Just gets a little bit of that separation he needed, switches hands. This one we felt, and we still do feel, I think, an important one. You can see the dodge by Morales. Great look. Look at Shore just gets beat up off of that shot and a goal in front. So a big one there. The Vikings, they've had a chance there at 4-1 to maybe cut their deficit in half. Instead, they end up getting a turnover. We go the other way. They've also got to kill 58, more the majority of a 1-minute penalty off a late slash as well.
Yeah, that's really not the way that you want to end the half. If you're Isaac Neal, they were trying to call timeout with about 6 seconds left to end the half on their terms, but ultimately there was an offsides infraction that brought the ball the other way. And then, of course, the slashing penalty that was administered to Andrew Robinson.
So, I mean, look, I figure the people watching here are lacrosse fans, so you might want to know also what's happening across the border in Suffolk County. So a few scores here. Farmingdale, we are at Farmingdale. Final out at Ward Melville, the defending champs there. Ward Melville with a 7-3 win over Bayshore. Northport was up big over Smithtown East. I think it might be a final now. That's 14-5, and it's 5-2 Smithtown West over Connecticut at halftime. That's all, by the way, in Suffolk A. Woodland bounces it wide.
Seeing James Hickes take some reps on the field for the first time again. Farmingdale's man up has been really impressive, and you have to love what you're seeing from Dom Ciaccio kind of play quarterback from the top of this offense.
Decker plays catch, and there is number 40, Ciaccio. Tough pass. Hickes accepts it. They play catch behind the cage. Up top is Woodland. Still 6-on-5. And no one in the box right now, unless it's kind of a guy kneeling down in front of the scorer's table. Ciaccio. He gets it up top. Man up's got to be winding down here. It is up now. We are even. And here, good job by Woodland just to cut it back. So the Dalers now 1 for 3 with the man up.
Good defensive stand there by the Port Washington man down unit. Really didn't allow the Dalers to get much of a look.
Woodland pulled by Greenberg. Swim move. Cuts it in front. Can't find Wilson. Ground ball scooped up. And the save by Kenny, and a wardrobe malfunction by Greenberg.
So we'll see if that's a situation where Port Washington was happy with the stoppage in play to set up the clear, or if perhaps it just allows Farmingdale to get into their ride a little bit better.
They double out at midfield. Spinning from that is McCarthy. Look at Capucciati. He's like a pit bull right now. Belomo. Oh, that's a shot high. And a failure to advance.
So again,
hang on. They'll go the other way. They'll say Neal called the timeout. So we had a failure to advance from the official on the other side of the field. But the near side, who's right by Neal. So you know, it's not a bad call. Certainly you expect it. Good timeout by Port Washington.
Fortunate situation for Farmingdale to not get a slashing penalty on Smichael there. Definitely questionable. I think the referees classified it as a brush.
We mentioned before the importance, right, of the number 40, and a lot of lacrosse programs on Long Island have that special number, and that's the number here, and it belongs this year to, of course, Dom Ciaccio. It's a number. They started it because of the great John Krummenacher, number 40, and what a performer he was in the history of Farmingdale lacrosse. 1981 graduate, a 4-time All-American at Hopkins. And look at just some of the names here who have worn this number. You've got Lenny Panarelli, of course, Matt Danowski. Danowski continued to wear that number at Duke and as well as his professional career as well. And C.J. Engelke in 2008. Travis Wall. Matty DeLuca, of course, the goalie out at Delaware. Some special names, and you certainly see why it's earned there by Ciaccio.
Yep. It's not reserved for a particular player at any position. Could be a goal scorer, could be a goalie, could be a defenseman. Matt Danowski's certainly one of the best offensive players in the history of the sport to wear the number. Hopefully rooting on Ciaccio to find the score sheet today.
McCarthy up top. It's Morales. Oh, and a little miscommunication. It looks, though, that the Vikings will not be punished for that, though, as McCarthy pulls that ball back out, hands it to Meyer. Meyer lowers the shoulder. Gets it to Morales. Swims it to his left. Back to his right.
Good.
Oh, eating that shot in front was the guy picking up the GB.
Biscardi, great job. Continues to push transition here. Goes down to the crease.
Decker gets out of traffic.
And here comes the yellow call again from Hungerford. Again, great job by Biscardi to eat that shot, pick up the ground ball, and then move it to Decker to wrap up that clear for Farmingdale. And we were just talking about number 40, and Ciaccio will set up the Farmingdale offense. You know, it's funny, we were just talking about that. Matt Danowski recently just retired from playing professional lacrosse in the PLL Chrome, and it was up for discussion if they should retire the number 40 within the Chrome organization. And it was brought up how that number is kind of meant to be continue to be worn.
How cool is that, huh? And here is Ciaccio. Ciaccio, you got to think if he scores a goal in this game, this place will go crazy.
Definitely a lot of people here supporting their seniors.
Decker, good fake, switches to his left. Spins now, righty. Decker! And I think Kenny got a piece. It goes behind, and it will stay with Farmingdale.
So now Steve DiCarlo is going to have a shorty-on-shorty matchup with Andrew Robinson. We saw him be the beneficiary of this matchup last time when he took Robinson down the alley. But DiCarlo's had success from X as well.
Here he comes, DiCarlo. Lowers a shoulder, back up top. Dodge there by Decker. Decker switches hands. His shot is wide.
A lot of quality shots in this game. Not a ton finding the net from either team. But again, Farmingdale's gotten into a nice groove here in their offense. They've taken a lot of time off the clock here in the second half. And DiCarlo will operate from X once again on Andrew Robinson.
That number 40, to kind of put a bow on it, was John Krummenacher, the brother of the legendary, longtime, still current, Farmingdale head coach in football, Buddy Krummenacher.
Yep.
And he also has a say in who gets that 40 number, and almost apropos that one of his football guys as well gets it in. There's a shot off the cage. Back up, not there.
Good job by Greenberg.
But you like, too, that it's a football guy, and Ciaccio, who's a wide receiver and defensive back as well. Here's another look at that one. And
great hustle by Greenberg. We've talked about how every possession is important and how tactical errors such as not having the backup will ultimately bite a team hard here. And Farmingdale was in possession there. Just really, really great effort by Greenberg. Again, an undersized defenseman, but one who could really move his feet well. And that's just an underrated example of that.
Carolina ride, broken well by Port Washington. They get in, and there's Gavin Jacobson. Good to see him back as well, much like Ciaccio, a key man, a future Division I player, a Bearcat going to Binghamton. Good to see him back as well. Feed goes back. Sidearm attempt, another block in front. This one, though, stays with Port Washington. Weingart gets a cross check, gets a second. Slide comes in Wilson. Weingart nowhere to go. Kicks it back out. Here's Haberman. Turns Ramos all over him. Ramos gets a piece, and the interception there by Bolello. Bolello hands off to Decker. He's got some room to move. Decker, and that one is blocked as well.
Good job for Colton Becker to recognize that he was going to be the closest man to the end line. Again, one of those situations where maybe Coach Hungerford has the pole pump the brakes, but they had an opportunity to push transition And again, good on them to have the backup where they had Greenberg beat them out for it earlier so they could retain possession here.
There's Stevie DiCarlo. He's pulled all the way out at midfield. Capucciati. Little change here as Wilson is off and Chaccio is back on.
And now Matt Hillman will bump over to Chaccio. I don't think he's going to extend quite as far on that matchup.
We've got a final out at Syosset, and it's the Braves marching on to another county championship, 13-4 win over Massapequa. Congratulations to John Calabria and a Syosset team we've seen a lot this year. They will play in the county championship game.
You really want to get the ball back to Chaccio here. He has a matchup with the shorty Belomo.
There he is.
This is where you want to call green.
And it's certainly you're wagering if you're Port Washington, right? But you're also wagering that maybe Chaccio isn't anywhere near 100%. So perhaps you shorty him and he doesn't have the wheels.
That was a missed opportunity. Belomo sloughed in early. Chaccio was definitely open for a good shot there.
Ramos off the bar, loose ball, and scooped up, saved. What a save by Woodland!
Heads up play, got it to Ramos. Good job by Ramos to get underneath on that dodge. Tried to put it short side. But again, heads up play by Woodland to save that one from going out. That was not off the shot. That was deflected after the ball was already dead off the shot. So if that had went out, it would have been Port Washington ball.
Decker wide of the mark.
Gotta love what you're seeing from Kenny here. Diving out of the crease after every shot that's going wide. Again, he's a water bug in goal. Has a lot of speed, very, very versatile young keeper who will try to walk on at Fairfield under Andy Copeland.
We joked before, but we were like, look, if you're on that Stags staff, maybe if you're like a grad assistant, you know the head coach do it. You meet him at the dorm, you bring his bags in. There's a save by Kenny again. Loose ball, oh, just wide of the mark by Decker. Sixth save of the game by Kenny.
Decker almost able to goose that one in. And another big save by Kenny.
Woodland! Saved by Kenny. It's loose. Belomo gets the GB.
Good job by Belomo to scoop up the garbage and prevent a rebound goal by Farmingdale. You saw Decker almost goose that goal in just before. And great job by your young D-Mitty here to scoop that up, taxi it to your offense, and now ultimately give your team a very important possession after you were on defense for quite a while there.
We go the other way. 3 minutes left. Oh, a little shimmy. Here's Jacobson. Spins to his left, back to his right. Jacobson! He is back. And Port within 2 with 2:57 left in the third quarter.
That's the goal you want. That's when you want it, and that's who you want to get it from. Port Washington pulls back within 2, getting a goal from their recently returned injured midfielder. Unbelievable beret of dodges by Gavin Jacobson, and a nice bound shot to beat Tony Seaman. You know, we talked to Coach Neal before the game about the injuries to both Jacobson and to Chaccio. He said, in a perfect world, I don't want anyone to get hurt, and I want to be in situations where the best teams are going head-to-head against each other full strength.
Jacobson's 9th of the year. When we spoke to Neal earlier this year, he said there's a joke among the staff that we don't know what hand he is. Just because, and you can see it there, right, where he's switching left and right, and such a cerebral player as well. Another
procedure call on Edmonds.
Call.
Scardy will scoop this one up.
Remarkably enough, too, right? First face-off of the second half.
Yeah, and that's a face-off you want, right? You pull back within 2. You had a big energy goal from your midfielder coming back from injured reserve. Farmingdale has kind of been dominating the time of possession here in the second half, but Port Washington ultimately has the 1-goal lead.
Now Chaccio looks like he's drawing the pole as he is being marked closely there by Matty Hillman.
So they'll bury Chaccio down on the crease. They know he's not a dodging threat now. They want to free him up to shoot and finish and initiate somewhere else.
This guy is a dodging threat. took advantage of that short matchup as well in that first game. Great switch to Capucciati. Goes to his left, nearly blew a tire. Now goes back to X. Woodland. Woodland's goal! Ryan Woodland! There's the response for Farmingdale. It's his third of the game. 5-2 Dalers.
Really exciting goal for Farmingdale, and ultimately someone that might not get enough credit here is Paolo Capucciati. Look at the pit that he sets on Capobianco. Capobianco runs right through it, but ultimately does not get to Woodland in time, who had his hands completely free for that lefty sidearm laser to put the Dalers up 5-2. Again, really impressive pick and really brave of Paolo Capucciati to put himself right in front of a full-speed train that was Briggs Capobianco.
Mangio again. He's now 6 of 8.
The young sophomore really having a great second half of the season. He has been on fire since the Syosset game.
Yeah, we talk about coming out parties. That was kind of his, right? Where he's going against Luca Accardo, a future Division I face-off guy as well. Certainly a more seasoned face-off guy, varsity lacrosse-wise. And Mangio more than held his own in that matchup. And his wins was a big sort of focal point of the Dalers' comeback in that game. They were down 4-1 in the first half, and they rallied to beat the Braves.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Hungerford about it. Just so happens that Accardo and Mangio actually work out together and do face-off practice in the offseason, so they know each other quite well. So it was a bit of an advantage there by the young number 8.
Kyle Wilson turns on Belomo, spins the other way. Under a minute left. Third quarter, wide shot by Wilson. He's got a goal. It was his goal to start this party for the Dalers.
Good job by Steve DiCarlo there to ultimately mirror Kyle Wilson's dodge. You have two midfielders now inverted and playing behind. We talk about how important it is to back up the ball and take advantage of every possession. So as Wilson was dodging, DiCarlo mirrored him in order to have the backup on the far side. And here we go. Once again, DiCarlo head-to-head, dodging from behind on Andrew Robinson. 35 seconds left in the quarter.
In that first matchup, as a stall warning is on now, it was DiCarlo and Capucciati taking advantage of their short stick matchups. Here's Wilson backing up.
And you see that Farmingdale is very content to initiate from behind against the short stick, but here comes the slide early. Greenberg cheated there.
Decker. Freeman on him. Decker, overhand shot. Kenny the save. It's loose in front. And why do you fire it down that quickly?
We talk about Freeman playing with a chip on his shoulder and making mistakes in the clearing game. Again, he was a little bit hazardous picking up that ground ball. He was lucky that he didn't goose that into his own goal. He could have clamped that down. And again, as you said, why chuck it down early with 7 seconds left on the clock? Not that anything resulted from it, but he ultimately gave White the ball last.
So Port Washington cut their deficit in half, but Ryan Woodland, the junior lefty attack, scored his third of the game to extend Farmingdale's lead to 5-2. Final 12 minutes coming up of this Nassau Class A semifinal. You're watching it right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. We welcome you back to Don Snyder Stadium. Dylan Butler, Dave Franklin. 12 minutes left. And this one, Syosset's already booked their trip to the county championship. Who will play them there, the Dalers or the Vikings?
Port Washington making a change here on the faceoff, moving Haberman up to the midfield. Great win by Mangio.
Bouncer wide. He has been a force at the faceoff X today. He's won 7 of 9.
So now Haberman, the natural attackman, is playing defensive midfield for Port Washington. I think they put him on the wing just to try to get an advantage and get him the ball quickly. And now you have a natural attacker who doesn't have a lot of experience on defense in the fourth quarter in a position where he can't get off the field.
Capucciati backs up. Haberman on him. Takes a few whacks. Capucciati. Oh, look at that move by Capucciati. Up top to Ciaccio. Can't settle it. Takes a poke. Freeman comes away. He's got a pair of goals on the year. Passed it backwards.
That's the second time that we've seen that. We saw Capobianco do it earlier. Now we see Freeman do it. We've talked about how Freeman can be a real spark plug in the clearing game, but sometimes he just really pumps up the voltage too much, and it results in some really bad mistakes. That's the second time that we've seen Port Washington possess the ball with a pole on the clear and just throw an errand scoop pass that goes nowhere.
DeCarlo! What a job by DeCarlo! He had the pole all over him, still had the strength. Go ahead, eat up, Stevie. 6-2 Farmingdale.
DeCarlo gets his second multi-goal goal of the year against the same opponent. Again, he had a lot of great matchups earlier against Andrew Robinson. This time he draws the pole in Greenberg, and Greenberg almost checks that one out of DeCarlo's stick and into the goal. DeCarlo was setting himself up to shoot as he got underneath. Greenberg got a nice check in there, but ultimately the ball dislodges from the stick of DeCarlo and past Kenny.
We'll have a push. So another face-off win for Mangio. And you think Stevie DeCarlo, the Geneseo commit, doesn't like playing against Port Washington? So he's now got 8 goals on the year, 5
against the Vikings.
Right here at Don Snyder Stadium.
We know that he had the complete green light to dodge against the short stick and Andrew Robinson. That time, as we said, he drew the pole in Greenberg. And now the ball will go back Port Washington's way.
6-2. Early portions of the fourth. And this is a guy right here. We've mentioned him before in other games as our impact player. And he has been completely shut down.
They're running him out of the box as a midfielder in the fourth quarter so they can free him up against the short stick. Pucciati here.
He expects Ramos to come soon, though. Haberman! Low shot. It looks like Seaman got a piece.
Low angle, low to low. Good job to change his positioning on the dodge, but Seaman had that tracked all the way.
Another forced pass into the crease. Another turnover for Port Washington.
Yep. You see him get underneath Capucciati here, continue to go underhand. Really good job for Seaman to track that, drop his knees low, and make that save. And again, here we see a good missed the opportunity there. Seaman did have Tommaso Ramos coming out of the box, and now they'll have to extend the clear and bring a pole over the line.
Great job defensively.
Again, missed opportunity. Seaman had a glimpse of light to get that to Ramos coming out of the box. Good job by Port Washington to push into the pole and get him out of bounds.
That was Weingart doing the job defensively. Now the Vikings desperately needing a goal or more. They've got it to Meyer, who gets it behind the cage. Meyer on Wilson. The double comes. Kicks it back out. Low to low. Easy save for Seaman.
Second low-to-low save in a row for Seaman. And again, Farmingdale will be forced to clear here on the far side, but Tom Wilson is wide open for Ramos. to make this an easy attempt for the Dailers.
Wilson back to Becker. Becker, the Oneonta commit. Slide comes. The look inside to Wilson. Again, kind of forced into the teeth. Greenberg there. Loose ball. It's still loose, and Kenny comes away with it.
Wilson picked up the garbage, got a shot there. Good save by Kenny, and good outlet over to McCarthy.
His 9th of the game. Haberman, the look down low, and again, the poles doing work. A hold was called, so we'll stay right here, but it was Lembo, the Maritime commit.
Two situations early in the game where Jared Morales forced 2 passes to the inside. Haberman, again, getting a little bit desperate, not finding the score sheet late in the 4th quarter.
Weingart, you're not going anywhere. That'll be a flag. But honestly, again, I feel like that's one. If you're the Dailers, you take it.
Yeah, that's going to be a high hit on Anthony Biello. He dodged right in to 3 Dailers on that one. Taking a look at the replay here. Comes through the outside, does a good job of getting underneath Lembo. And then as he got through GLE, easy slide there for Biello as he was guarding the creased attackman, but comes in just a little bit high. And a really important man-up opportunity for the Vikings.
So the cross-check, a minute penalty, and you'd have to say at this point of the game, just about a must situation for Port to cash in on.
Yeah, if you don't score on this man-up, I don't see how you win the game.
Haberman steps down and scores. There is that response. Haberman gets on the board. And Port cuts their deficit to 6-3.
So you talk about Port Washington scoring key goals from key personnel. Haberman completely off the board until this point. He's a true triple threat. And what's great about this is not only does Haberman get a goal, but Gavin Jacobson gets an assist. Haberman, a really dynamic Dodger, was really forcing the issue, had a really tough matchup drawing Lorenzo Ramos, put him in at the midfield so he could get some opportunities to draw against the short stick. But ultimately, he has a great far-range shot, and he shows it there to Seaman, who had been strong low to low until number 3 was able to break the score sheet.
So Schmeichel, you saw there, come in like a bowling ball, and there was that push as a result. So here we go.
Capucciotti's going to try to shut off Haberman here, doing a good job of doing that.
Yeah, why not? We'll play 5-on-5. Weingart! Goal!
It's in.
The rally in Port Washington's win in the first matchup was in the 3rd quarter. Now they're coming in the 4th. It's 6-4.
We talked about the man up being a must-score situation. They get a goal from range with Haberman, and they take advantage of it on the next possession. Weingart has been red hot. Port Washington's had success, ultimately dodging and sweeping across the top of the offensive zone. And ultimately Weingart is able to get the shot off before the 3-man collapse. And it's once again a 2-goal deficit.
His 25th of the year for Weingart. Back to the faceoff X. Physicality. It's loose. GB. Who gets it? It's Port Washington. 12-on-12 crime. Did Capucciotti force him back? Bodies flying. Here comes Bolello. Hands off. And the Dailers should be in no hurry here. Plus, they don't have the right personnel on, so Capucciotti backs it back up. Schmeichel will come off. Here comes DeCarlo.
Bolello took that penalty earlier, ultimately redeems himself there with a sweet interception. I think that's the 3rd or the 4th interception of the game for Farmingdale. I think that if you're the New York Jets defensive back coach, you start taking some notes from the Farmingdale lacrosse team.
Here's Chaccio. His future is at Stony Brook. He's not quite done with his present.
We'll, of course, play at Stony Brook with Jared Morales, who has 1 assist on the day for Port Washington, who probably wants to find the back of the net pretty soon, for that matter.
How about this here? Loyola on Stony Brook. Haberman takes a whack. Stall warning is on. Haberman tries to force Chaccio over the end line. Chaccio, though, strong. These are both football guys as well. Switching. The double comes. Chaccio still has it. Chaccio takes a peek over his shoulder and comes right back at the poles. Chaccio running around in the end zone. Chaccio off the bar. GB. Decker. Shot. Another save by Kenny, this time denying Becker. His 10th of the game. Wild moments. And the ball will go to the Vikings.
This is going to be an important clear here for Port Washington. That was almost another interception for Farmingdale. What a barrage Kenny ultimately faced here. Chaccio spent a lot of time cycling the net, drew a few double teams, rang one off the crossbar, and here comes a key man-up opportunity for Port Washington.
There's a huddle out at midfield among the attacking Vikings.
The offense is just starting to find a rhythm, and they've been finding it quickly.
It'll be a 1-minute penalty. The Vikings cashed in quickly on their last man up. They're 1 for 2 on the game. A goal here would make it a 1-goal game.
Penalties on Woodlands. Port Washington found a goal from range with Haberman on the last man up.
Here's Weingart. They've got to identify Haberman. Here he is now. The extra pass to Weingart. Haberman up top. Ramos on him. Fakes the pass. Now he does go up top. Morales bounces it. Seaman. Not only does he make the save, but he holds on to it. More importantly, huge clearing opportunity here. Almost ending up in the own net. Seaman can't get it. Battles. Rugby scrum. Seaman's out of his cage. He'll get back in. Port will take another bite at the apple. It's Haberman up top. Haberman lowers the shoulder. Slide comes back out to Morales. Here's Meyer. Meyer spins. Chance of defense here from the student section. Haberman switches it. Low shot by Morales, wide.
Haberman and Morales doing a good job of finding each other here. The last shot Morales took, which Seaman was able to save, didn't exactly have a lot of mustard on it. A lot more velocity on that shot, but once again, not finding the frame.
You're even. Weingart back up top, 3:45 to go, fourth quarter. Haberman goes low to low. Just missed the far post, although it looked like Seaman was there to cover.
Ramos has now found Haberman. They have the pole matchup, even though he's running as a midfielder right now. Great alley dodge. Really athletic move. Just missed the net again.
It's like Ramos has a GPS, right? Trying to find Haberman. Here's Jacobson up top. Capucciati on him. Jacobson bounces it wide.
Key backup. Key backup by Seaman. We see Kenny do this a lot. Good job by 99 there, knowing that there were no attackers behind. Port Washington has to do a better job of this. That one skipped wide, and as he was turning to see it go past him, followed it to the end line, and a key Farmingdale possession, up 2 goals.
Clear by Tomaso Ramos, and he's kind of pointing, sending Capucciati to the corner.
Directing traffic.
Yeah. Capucciati now behind the cage. Oh, get out of the way. And it's funny, as some slashes, Capucciati lost his stick. That'll be a timeout here for Farmingdale, but Capucciati, understandably, stating his case here for a penalty against Port. Here's another look. What I was going to say, too, is Capucciati got trained.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. That definitely should be a, yep.
Well, in the first game, he got run over on a goal. So he must have loved that bull dodge that he had there.
Yep. That definitely could have been a slashing call on Matt Hillman after the collision. Again, another good timeout by Farmingdale.
So you wonder, right, how did we get here, meaning here at Farmingdale, when a week ago Port Washington came away with a win, right, over the Dalers? Well, there was a 3-way tie for first place in Nassau A between Syosset, Farmingdale, and Port Washington. So the coaches met right here at Farmingdale after the last game of the year, And basically what they came up with, and I like the idea, and it makes a lot of sense. You go to common opponent. They were 7 on the schedule. So the other 2 teams in A were Oceanside and Massapequa, right? You've got those teams. You've got Garden City, Southside, Cary, Herricks, and Long Beach. Those are your 7 common opponents. You mark down, would you get a win-loss? Syosset went 7-0 against those 7 teams. Farmingdale went 6-1. Port Washington went 5-2. Losses to Cary and especially Long Beach really hurt Port Washington. So the result was Farmingdale earns the 2 seed over Port Washington, and here we are. So it's crazy how this whole thing happened. Farmingdale, had they had beaten Port Washington, would have been the 1 seed because they already beat Syosset. Port Washington went to Syosset with a chance to win it as well. Syosset took it from them. So that's how evenly matched these three teams were this year, and we're seeing that kind of in the postseason as well.
Kangaroo Court was held here at Farmingdale right after we saw Syosset pull off a big win against Port Washington at Syosset. And a deja vu situation as Port returns to Farmingdale now in a playoff scenario.
This also, by the way, the 57th all-time meeting in a rivalry that dates back to 1965. Dailers all over this matchup, 46-11. But Port has one of the bigger wins in this program, in this history, an upset win over the Dailers to win the county championship back in 1995. Here is Decker on his horse off the timeout.
Port Washington's going to double the ball right away.
How quickly will we see Kenny come out as an extra defender? He's kind of pulling out of his net a little bit. Decker still has it. Decker takes a shoulder barge. He's doubled. In trouble. Big GB by Wilson. Stall warning back on, under 2.5 to go. Some extra physicality by Port.
Interesting throw back there to go to Wilson behind the net, who ultimately gets dislodged here. Andrew Robinson's been playing a lot of D-midi today on DeCarlo. And here comes the triple. Kenny's out of the cage.
Kenny is out. Still out. Gets the GB. It's loose, though, right in front of his cage.
Good job by Greenberg there to deflect that one. Port Washington's going to have to turn around this clear very fast.
Under 2. Here comes Kenny. Belomo pumps the brakes, cuts it. He's got a man in Meyer as he crosses midfield. Here comes Meyer, lowers the shoulder, turns, spins it the other way. He's doubled as well. Oh, and an errant pass. That's been the story.
Got to keep it over. Good job. Good job by Capo Bianco to keep that one from an over and back.
Players down all over the place. And it's the Dailers who come away with Schmeichel. And they call the timeout with 1:21 left in this fourth quarter.
So you have to think now Farmingdale's probably going to take the stall warning. That's kind of been their MO in situations like these. They'll take full advantage of the clock. They've been doing a good job of keeping it in, even when Kenny's out of the net and causing the triple team. But they'll draw it up and take a breath and try to close out this last 90 seconds to see Syosset in the championship game.
That championship game Tuesday night, 7:30 at Mitchell Athletic Complex. Usually that championship game and all other Nassau championship games across the street of Hempstead Turnpike over at Hofstra University. COVID protocols being what they are, they had to switch it over to Mitchell Athletic Complex. But it should be a fun 2 days. You've got 4 different championship games, A, B, C, and D, played across those 2 days. So you've got a doubleheader both nights. And then you crown a county champion, and that champion will then go on to play in the Long Island Championship on June 19th over at East Islip Middle School. We mentioned some of the teams still alive there. Ward Melville, Northport. Smithtown West was battling Connecticut. But honestly, it should be wide open the way that things are. There isn't that, like, crazy dominant team in Suffolk County this year, like the Ward Melvilles of the past. And, you know, the last couple of years in Nassau, you had Massapequa with their senior laden, all those college, future collegiate guys. there isn't that team this year. Maybe it's a little bit because of COVID and players losing that valuable year a year ago, but it is wide open in Class A this year in both counties. And should the Dalers survive these last minute and 21 seconds, could you even say there's a favorite in the championship game?
No, I mean, you can't. I mean, with these 4 teams and if you're in a situation where going into the playoffs to decide seedings, you have to have the 4 coaches meet here and figure out that 7 common opponent. There's never going to be a favorite when anybody's going head-to-head.
Yard sale. And look at the aggressive ride. Decker comes away with it. Gets it to Becker. Stall warning still on. Becker survives. Errant pass. Decker comes away. No, he did not. Ball goes to Port Washington. Interesting to note here in the back, they play with 5 attacking players.
Lorenzo Ramos, kind of playing center field as an LSM.
Here we go, under a minute. Port's got to hurry. Meyer up top. Haberman switches to his left. Haberman turns up top to Weingart. Weingart saved by Seaman.
That might ice it. That was really the possession and the look that you were looking to get. Down 2 goals, 24 seconds. Just has to be smart on the clear here, and Wilson's open at the 50.
18 seconds to go. The Dalers that close to reaching the county championship.
They should be able to dribble this out. Moving screen.
Yeah, and Becker.
For Washington ball, 6 seconds left.
Becker is pointing it with the official. He doesn't care. 6.6. It's going to take a miracle. That miracle won't happen as the ball is intercepted by Capucciati. And the Dalers survive and advance. They win this one 6-4. And they will take on the Braves of Syosset in the county championship game on Tuesday night. Congratulations to Mike Hungerford and his coaching staff. A terrific season by Isaac Neal and the Vikings. They've got a long trip home, but they should have their heads held high. It's the 6th straight semifinal appearance by Port, but you feel this one they're a lot more of a player maybe than they have been in the past, and credit goes to Neal for kind of helping this resurgence in Port Washington lacrosse.
Yeah, he's a really good guy to have behind this program. Really impressed by him and the culture that he's built and all the conversations that we've ultimately had. Again, a Colorado guy who came here to Long Island to play at Hofstra for college and has now found his way back to Nassau County. But this Port program has always been solid, but as of recent has very much been on the rise. He has a lot of young talent to develop there, and again, obviously an upsetting situation. You beat this team on the same field not too long ago. Just a different situation, a lot more on the line. Maybe perhaps on your sideline, a little bit less experience brought more jitters or a little bit of extra energy or extra unneeded energy into this one. And Farmingdale had the poise to pull out the win when it counted most.
Here's that championship pedigree. 13 county championships. The last were back-to-back in 2010 and 11 for the Dalers. Their last appearance in the championship game, you go back to 2017. That was a loss to rival Massapequa in that one, and the Chiefs would go on and win 3 straight. We'll have a new champion this year. Massapequa lost to Syosset, so it'll be Syosset and Farmingdale in the championship game. Of course, those 2 teams met right here not too long ago, and it was the Dalers rallying to beat the Braves in that one.
Great Farmingdale defense in that game, shutting down A.J. Alexander and a very potent Syosset offense. So 36-9 and 43, the big offensive players. Kotler as well for Syosset, who's been a great offensive threat. They'll get a second chance at Lembo, Bolello, and Lorenzo Ramos.
Yeah, that one should be a lot of fun. We want to take this opportunity as we're late in our season here at Varsity Media to really thank everybody who has been a part to help us get these broadcasts going, from athletic directors to head coaches, of course, parents. the students and fans as well. A lot of it's prom season, it's graduation season. We want to certainly wish the best of luck to all those graduating seniors. We'll see all of you again for, we hope, a return, certainly it seems that way, to normalcy in a year's time, and we'll see a lot of those fun non-league lacrosse matchups that we love to see, and the Catholic versus the Publics, the out-of-town teams like Darien and New Canaan, and that's kind of what makes lacrosse here in the Northeast so much fun, and we expect to be back there very, very soon. We're not done with our broadcast season. We'll have some announcements in the coming days on what we have going forward, but that should just about wrap things up here from Don Snyder Stadium. So Ryan Woodland led the attack with 3 goals. Danny Seaman did his job, as did the aggressive Farmingdale Poles. It's the Dalers, the 2 seed, advancing 6-4 over Port Washington to move on to take on the top-seeded Braves of Syosset Tuesday night out at Mitchell Athletic Complex. For my broadcast partner, Dave Franklin, I want to also thank Matt McCower Brown, the guy bringing you all the moving images here tonight and also throughout the regular season, or throughout all of the season as well. And Nick Luisi, the pride of Seaford, for doing his job, of course, directing as well. I'm Dylan Butler, thanking you for joining us. Again, thanks to everyone to help make these broadcasts possible. And we will see you again very soon on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Good night.